An emergency meeting is happening right now at Coronado Unified's district office to talk about Saturday's tortilla throwing incident. Good evening, I'm Jessica Khan.
I'm Marcella Lee. Barbara Lee and Carlo have the night off. Community members are calling for swift action after what they say was an act of racism and hate at the CIF championship basketball game. News 8's Shannon Handy is live outside the meeting tonight with more on the fallout and this emergency meeting. Shannon?
Yeah, Marcella and Jesse, this is obviously a very controversial issue. That meeting got underway about an hour ago at 5 o'clock, and the room where that's taking place is at capacity. Now, earlier today outside Coronado High School, a rally was held where the incident occurred. A cousin of one of the Orange Glen players who was at the game said he had never seen anything like it.
The tradition is if you lose or if you beat a team, then the opposing team goes to the other team, you shake hands, you walk off the floor, you have your ceremonies, and that's the way it should be. This was unacceptable, it was unnecessary, and something has to be done.
Jesse. Just to recap what happened, in cell phone video, you can see tortillas flying following Coronado's CIF championship win over Orange Glen. From a different angle, it appears as though at least 2 Coronado players are among those throwing them. Escondido's Orange Glen High School is predominantly Hispanic. Coronado is mostly white. Some are calling on Coronado's basketball coach to be fired, saying he started a verbal altercation before the tortillas were thrown, calling the Orange Glen players losers. While others want Coronado to either share or be stripped of their title, as well as the district to provide diversity training. At tonight's meeting, the Coronado School Board will discuss what happens next. The public is being allowed to comment. So far, we've heard from several people, including a tearful Coronado School Board member, as well as the captain of Coronado's basketball team.
What about as an Orange Glen parent, seeing one of those tortillas hit my child? We have to put ourselves in the shoes of those that are affected.
None of the players were aware tortillas were brought to the game, and none of the players have any animosity, racial or otherwise, toward the Orange Glen players. The tortillas were brought by someone not associated with the team. However, the throwing of the tortillas during the scuffle after the game was unsportsmanlike and inexcusable. And on that behalf of the team, we apologize for that action. I think many people are making Saturday out to be something that it was not. And I will be reaching out to the Orange Glen captains to discuss this issue.
Now, as for what the Coronado School Board will decide at this meeting, that's still unclear. A portion of tonight's meeting will be behind closed doors, but they do say that they will let the public know what they decide in that closed-door meeting as well. CIF is investigating, as well as Coronado Police. Now, we do have another crew inside, and we will have more updates on later editions in our newscasts.
The husband of missing mother Maya Miliete will not be getting his guns back for at least 90 days.
As News 8's David Gofferson reports, a court hearing was continued today on a gun violence restraining order against Larry Miliete.
Justice for Maya! Justice for Maya!
Team Maya showed up at the Hall of Justice Tuesday morning to show support for the mother of 3 from Chula Vista who has been missing for more than 5 months.
We want justice for Maya, and we want to know where she is, and we're not going away.
The demonstration took place in advance of a gun violence restraining order hearing against the missing woman's husband, Larry Miliete. Police have seized the husband's collection of guns, saying they are a risk to the community, as well as his 3 children living in the home.
We're trying to create awareness out here about what's going on with Maya, about the case that's going on with search warrants. We want the judge to not allow the guns back in the home.
Because gun violence restraining orders are civil matters, Larry Miliete was not required to attend the hearing.
This is Bonita Martinez. I represent Larry Miliete, who's not present.
Judge Runston Mano started out by telling both sides he had already signed several search warrants in a related case being investigated by the Chula Vista Police Department.
I made a disclosure that I've signed at least 5 search warrants on this case, perhaps more.
And he quickly informed the public the gun violence restraining order case would not be heard until September 14th at the earliest.
I understand it's going to be a stipulated continuance for 90 days.
The stipulated continuance means both sides agreed to the delay. So Larry Miliete will not be getting his guns back for at least 90 days, even though he filed court papers saying he needed the firearms for protection from ongoing death threats. So the bottom line is there is still a temporary gun violence restraining order in place. Larry will not be getting his guns back anytime soon, pending the next gun violence restraining order hearing, now set for September 14th. Marcella?
And David, you have reported that there are actually redacted and sealed records in this case. So there is a lot more to this investigation that we don't know about yet, right?
Right. There's 44 search warrants sealed in this case, and prosecutors do not want to have to start arguing in court about all this evidence that's been collected in the missing Maya Miliete case. So that could be another reason for the continuance. The prosecution may not want to start arguing in open court about all the information they have in this case.
All right. Those details may come out at a later date. Thanks so much, David. A former San Diego police sergeant accused of stalking his ex-girlfriend pleaded not guilty to all charges in a court appearance by video today. 43-year-old Marius Chas was arrested back in February after a 7-month investigation. He is charged with 3 felony counts, including stalking, extortion, and false imprisonment of the woman who was his girlfriend at the time. Chas remains out on bond. However, he cannot have any firearms or make any contact with his alleged victim. A readiness hearing was set for August 25th. Today, the Biden administration announced that it will begin allowing asylum seekers with closed cases to enter the U.S. to pursue their claims for humanitarian protection. Since February, only those with open cases have been allowed into the U.S. as the administration looks to undo the Trump-era Remain in Mexico policy. Officials say many had their cases dismissed for reasons beyond their control while they were waiting across the border. As many as 30,000 asylum seekers may now be eligible due to the change.
Some Scripps patients caught up in last month's cyber attack are now suing. They accuse the company of failing to protect patients' data, and say Scripps should have been better prepared for a cyber attack on their systems. Scripps says data for nearly 150,000 people was compromised in the attack. The lawsuits are asking for damages and for Scripps to implement a number of new security measures. Governor Gavin Newsom has announced that the state will pay off all the past due rent that accumulated because of the pandemic. California has $5.2 billion to pay off people's rent. The money came from multiple aid packages approved by Congress. The state's ban on evictions is set to expire next Wednesday, and it's unclear if it will be extended as of right now. Federal eviction protections also are set to expire on the same day.
The waters around San Diego are some of the busiest in the United States. They've also become a prime area for drug traffickers and human smugglers.
News 8's Tim Blodgett with the newest agency patrolling the Southern California coast.
Last month, a boat carrying nearly 30 people in a human smuggling attempt crashed off the coast of Cabrillo National Monument. It's just an example of the increased amount of crime that Border Patrol says is coming through California's coastline. On May 2nd, tragedy struck off the coast of Point Loma. A smuggling boat was tossed into the waves before capsizing, killing 3 people. Coast Guard and Border Patrol were quickly on scene to evacuate the injured, but despite it being late afternoon and drifting through highly patrolled waters, it's a wonder how the boat was able to make it to shore in the first place.
Thank you again for joining us here today.
3 miles from the crash site, San Diego Sector Border Patrol Chief Aaron Heitke laid out his plan to further secure the border against drugs and human smuggling operations.
These organizations treat smuggled people as a commodity. Smugglers continually prioritize profit over their victims' safety by placing them in unpredictable and unsafe conditions.
Border Patrol will now have a naval presence in San Diego waters. With this data, it's clear why the Department of Homeland Security would want extra protection along California's waters. There's as many arrests at sea now than the entirety of 2020. Drug busts are becoming more common.
The concern lies in the type of drugs being smuggled, as we saw last August near Carlsbad. In that incident, agents found 14 backpacks containing 439 pounds of methamphetamine, 7.5 pounds of heroin, and 21 pounds of fentanyl.
San Diego Border Patrol Marine Unit will get a few extra hands and these 2 super sleek boats. Considering the waters around San Diego are patrolled by many different state and federal agencies, adding a Marine unit to the Border Patrol means it's all hands on deck on fighting traffickers.
As part of this multi-agency collaborative effort, The San Diego Sector Marine Unit will act as a force multiplier to keep the coastal community safe and secure.
Tim Blodgett, News 8.
The Carlsbad Fire Department is replacing one of its oldest fire stations.
Demolition is getting underway on Fire Station 2. It has served the community for the last 52 years, but times have changed, and it can no longer accommodate the engines or staff needed to operate. A new station will be able to house 5 emergency response vehicles, which includes a 60-foot ladder truck, a fire engine, and an ambulance.
I'm thrilled, and not just as a fire chief, but as a former firefighter that used to work out of this station and ride on the engines and ambulances out of here. It's really exciting, and I'm excited for the community and for the firefighters that will be working here.
The new fire station is expected to be completed toward the end of next year. Firefighters will work out of a nearby temporary location during construction. It'll be state-of-the-art, and what a nice resource.